Hey everybody, welcome to a whatever comes out reading. I've been trying to do more structured readings for specific time frames or specific signs, but Spirit is guiding me to do a whatever comes out reading. And I thought that my daily readings were like that, but these are like timeless readings. Um, yeah, for some reason my intuition is being blocked or my energy is being shifted towards doing more universal messages that are timeless. So there's no weekly, no monthly, no daily, no specific sign, just whatever comes out. So we'll see what Spirit has to say. This is a timeless reading for whoever needs to hear it. It'll reach who needs to reach. Decompartmentalization, deconstruction, breaking free from categories or ego or the things that separate us, becoming more fluid, osmosis, integration. We're all the same sign. We're all sharing the same experience regardless of the sun sign. Page of Swords. The pages represent young people, people who are curious, people who are starting something new. They're learning new things. These are like the apprentices of the zodiac, the neophytes. Some of you guys are learning something new, learning a new skill, reading about different topics or subjects. You're being asked to have an open mind about what you're learning. Okay, so here's the thing. Your ability to learn this, whether it's a new skill or a new discipline, you're studying something new, you're going to have to get rid of any sort of biases, implicit or explicit, about what you're learning. So for example, suppose you're learning to be a tarot reader or astrologer, right? And you were raised in a Christian household. You're going to have to get rid of any preconceived notions in order to take advantage of the knowledge that you're acquiring. There is a mental block here. So someone is reading or they're learning something, but they can't assimilate it or apply it because there's a dissonance between them and that which they're learning. They don't really believe in it. There's some bias or prejudice against it. Even though they're interested in it, they've been programmed or conditioned to see this information a certain way. For example, Donald Trump is now president, right? And a lot of people don't like Donald Trump, especially in the Black community. But Donald Trump may have important information to give the Black community or the world that is being ignored because they don't like the messenger. So this is about removing all biases, implicit or explicit, from the information that you're receiving. Don't apply your prejudices to the facts. Don't focus on the messenger, focus on the message. So you have to break away from some sort of indoctrination that is making you fearful or resistant to any sort of change or learning something new. It's like your ability to optimize your knowledge is contingent upon how receptive you are to it. So it's like you're studying something you don't believe in. You're going to school to become a doctor, but you don't really believe in the medical industry in the United States, or you're against the system in some way. Like, there's a contradiction here. This is very Gemini-like. There's a contradiction between what you're learning and what you believe in. Your beliefs and your knowledge are clashing. So if you believe that Donald Trump is a racist, then everything he says is racist, even though it's not true, right? If you believe that astrology is the devil, even though you're interested in it and you see that there is some truth in astrology, there's going to be a conflict or contradiction. There's like a dissonance between you guys. Some of you guys could have a Mercury moon opposition or square, sun moon opposition or square. There's a lack of integration here between what you're learning and what you're believing. There's a square between knowledge and belief. Knowledge is Gemini, belief is Pisces. There's two squares here, or Virgo and Sagittarius, the mutable square. When you believe something, you don't have to know it. When you know something, you don't have to believe it for a fact. So it's like you're going to have to know that what you're doing is the right thing, or you're going to have to believe in what you're doing. Somebody, like, they know stuff. They have a lot of information or knowledge, but they don't believe in what they're doing. There's a contradiction. There's a split. There's a lack of integration. 8 of Pentacles, the apprentice, learning a new skill, Virgo energy. So here we have a cello. A cello is an instrument that comes from wood and whatever materials these strings. Okay, here we go. Now I get it. So a piece of wood becomes an instrument because there is an integration of skill, but also belief, skill, and magic. Magic, music, skill, the spiritual and the material, the spiritual and the practical. There's music is a spiritual endeavor. It's a spiritual experience. Creating music, listening to music, hearing music is very spiritual. You can't see it. You can only hear the music. Of course, you can read sheet music, whatever. But this instrument is a vessel that is used to produce music. So this thing that you're seeing that's tangible, that's material, that's physical, is what can be used to create something beautiful. So even if you don't like what someone is saying, or you don't believe in what you're doing, the application, the purposeful, intentional, structured application of your knowledge can create something beautiful, even if you don't really believe in it. So if you are born and raised Christian, but you're really good at tarot reading or astrology or some other spiritual stuff, what you believe is no longer relevant. All that matters is that you have the skill and the gift. Your body has become a vessel, like this cello, that can be used to express a gift. Even if you don't believe in it, you don't believe in your own gift. You don't believe in your own gift. You don't believe the message you're receiving. You don't believe anything. It's like there's a split between logic and belief. So this cello started off as a tree. In order for you to see that a tree can become a cello or any sort of instrument, you have to believe in the idea first and foremost, right? Some trees are humongous. Whose idea was it to turn a tree into an instrument? And it requires a lot of skill. Like, you can't just, any old person just can't take a tree and turn it into a flute or a recorder or a cello or violin or guitar. You have to have a mastery, Eight of Pentacles, of a certain skill. Okay, if you don't believe in what you're doing, you're not going to master it. If you don't believe in what you're doing, you're not going to master a skill enough to create beautiful music out of it, or to create something beautiful and constructive from it. So there is something that you're gifted at and you're learning how to do, but your ability to fully manifest or actualize or optimize this gift is contingent upon your belief in your ability to do it, or your belief in it. So you have the skills, you have the knowledge, but you don't believe that it's actually useful, accurate, real. There's a contradiction between what you're believing and what you know. You've been indoctrinated to see the world a certain way, or to see yourself as in a certain way. It's like you don't believe in your own abilities. You don't believe in yourself. This is a universal message. This is not just for any individual sign. This is not just for a time period. This is for the collective. It's like you don't want to believe it. You don't want to believe what you're seeing. So now you can't use this information effectively. You can't use the knowledge that you're receiving, or the information you're receiving, to create something beautiful. A new world, a new business, a new perspective, a new philosophy, a new ideal, a new life. You're like, what is this for? Why should I care? Is this real? How is this useful? Belief has to be there. You have to believe in this or yourself. You have to believe in this vision, this dream, or you have to believe in your ability to manifest it or create it. So you know enough. This is like Gemini and Virgo. It's like a lot of information that's being analyzed and processed, but not synthesized. It's not used to create anything new. You're just regurgitating what someone else told you. You're not internalizing it. And so it stays at a nascent stage of development. You're not able to create. You're only imitating or repeating what somebody else has told you, because you don't really believe it. You're just like a parrot. And so now your ability to synthesize information to create something new out of it is limited. It's severely limited. It's like someone who appropriates a culture. They dance and they sing and they look like the people of that culture, but they don't have the same ideologies or beliefs that engender that culture that they're imitating. So it falls flat. It looks imitation. It feels fake. It's not from the soul. Soul and belief are integrated, but their soul and belief, they have a symbiotic relationship. You have to integrate soul and belief, fantasy and fact, the seen and the unseen, what you can prove and what you're intuiting, what you can prove, what you can quantify, what you can materialize, what you can calculate, what you can see, with what you cannot see. This is for a spiritual reader, somebody who's in metaphysics, esoteric stuff, musicians, artists, people who use their imagination, or who can hear, who like clairaudient, clairvoyant, clairsentient. They hear things, but they just brush them off as their own thoughts or paranoia, whatever. They may even hear music. Depends on what you're doing. But you don't believe in something. You don't believe in magic. You don't believe in magic. You think magic is hocus pocus, but you can see that magic is real, but you don't really believe in it. It's like, again, if you're like a tarot reader or astrologer, right? Or you watch these videos and you're just starting out on this journey. Some of these readings are very accurate for you. You're like, oh my God, how this person picked that up. But on the other hand, you're like, oh, they're just lucky. they're just, scamming people, something like that. So it's like the magic doesn't work unless you believe in it. The magic won't work unless you believe it. So you can have all the knowledge you want, all the skill you want, but the magic comes in a belief in what you cannot see and what you cannot quantify. Like this instrument here, this cello. A tree only turns into a cello or an instrument if you believe that it can. So you may have the skills like a carver or someone who, a wood carver. You can make this instrument, but it's like, okay, now you have the shape of the cello, right? But it's still not a cello until you put the strings there. There's a certain symmetry. There's a certain balance that has to happen before this becomes a beautiful instrument and not just a clunk of wood that looks like a cello. Because you can make a cello, you can like find any object and make it look like a cello or an instrument. You can turn clay, you can sculpt clay or, I don't know, stone or some other material and turn it into the shape of a cello, but it's not going to sound like it because it's not that. So it's like you guys are imitating something. Are you imitating somebody but not really internalizing what you're imitating? This could be for an artist. I want to be a rapper. I want to be a singer. But you're just imitating somebody's song. It's not coming from you. It's not something you really believe in. You have not internalized it. You haven't taken ownership of it. It's still a tree in your mind. You're like, this is not a cello. It's still a tree. How is it a cello? Just because you think it's a cello doesn't mean that it is. It's still a tree. You see the branch is still coming up from the top. It's like someone has a hard time. Someone is very cerebral, but they're also very intuitive too. There's a split here. Someone could be an accountant, someone who's in a very intellectual arena, intellectual field, a lawyer, a doctor, practitioners of some, like they went to school, they're really intelligent, but their intelligence is overriding their belief in magic. But something's bringing them here to this space where like they're in a crossroads because nothing's making sense anymore. Nothing makes sense in their world. Something's happened to them where it's like what they thought was real is not real anymore. Saturn conjunct Neptune, Saturn in Pisces. This doesn't make sense, and they can feel that it doesn't make sense. So they follow the rules. They went to school, they got their degrees, they make their money. Their friends are very successful, rich. They're not struggling or anything, but something doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. So now they've stepped into a different realm of understanding, more intuitive, more spiritual, more esoteric. Something that can't be quantified. This is a qualitative experience. You can't measure this. This is about your belief, your faith, your imagination, your creativity. Epiphany, seek clarity. This looks like the phoenix. Is this a phoenix? No. Seek clarity. Yeah. You have a lot of information, but no clarity. Nothing makes sense. Something like the world doesn't make sense anymore. There has to be something more to this, but it's like you're fighting it. You're fighting it. You're fighting it. You are fighting it. You were raised to have a computational scientific mind. A lot of air in your chart. Exalted Mercury in Virgo, Mercury in Gemini potentially, Mercury in the third house, Mercury, I don't want to say Mercury conjunct Uranus, because Mercury and Uranus aspects are actually quite intuitive. I would say Mercury and Saturn. Mercury and Saturn. It's Saturn here. Saturn aspecting Neptune in a square. Potential. Think big for your future. Right. Your potential is limited. Your ability to optimize this opportunity or your knowledge. Potential is based on belief. What could be, what might be, Neptune energy. You don't see it yet. You can feel it. And the potential is only actualized if you believe in what you're trying to manifest. Like this cello. It takes a long time for someone to use their hands to turn a tree into this instrument. A very long time. So you have to see the potential of this reality before you can. You have to see the potential of this reality in order for you to apply your knowledge, your energy, your skills to developing it. But you don't see it's like you're scared of the hidden potential. You don't like that word potential. If you can't see it and you can't quantify it and it's not here, now you can't touch it, it's not real for you. This is like scientific thinking, which is not wrong, but this is like rational to the point of, this is rational to the point of cynicism or skepticism. But that's being shifted because so many things don't make sense anymore. It's like a peacock. Peacocks are very magical creatures. They're just absolutely gorgeous. This is like Pisces versus Gemini, Mercury versus Neptune or Jupiter. Potential is Jupiter. Think bigger for your future. There could be a Jupiter Saturn square also. Jupiter Saturn conjunction or opposition. What's practical is preventing you from like broadening your imagination to the potential of what could be if you did things differently, if you believed in something beyond the realm of your reality or your experience or what you can quantify. Evidence-based thinking or evidence-based learning. There's no evidence for this. It's all potential. So this is something that has to come from within you for it to manifest. It's okay, because there's a lot of stuff going on here. On a mundane level, politics, as an example. Donald Trump, people hate him. I don't trust any politician. It just is what it is. But people are not seeing that there's an opportunity to take advantage of what's going on politically to improve their lives. They don't believe in Trump. They don't believe in Republicans. They don't like him. He's a racist, he's a fascist. So whatever he says is bad. Let me ignore everything he says and he does because he's an evil, wicked person. I don't see the potential here. Things can only get worse from here. He's all bad. Everything he does is bad. Everything he says is bad. No potential, no hope. It's all lost. Everything is devastation. So you can't think big if you think it's over because he's president. It's like you won't see the opportunities that he's creating, for better or worse, if you're so focused on the messenger, the conditioning, the indoctrination by the media. There is no hope. He hates everybody. He's a racist, a fascist, Trump, Elon Musk, racist, as an example, right? Or on a different level, personally, if you're someone who is highly rational, very intelligent, but you want to be an artist or creative, you have that spirit within you to do music or to do astrology or to do dance or to sing or whatever, to do something that's not practical. Eight of Pentacles. It's not practical. To do something that's based on potential, not a fast track to success. So some of you guys, you said I want to be rich and comfortable. How do I do that? I go to college and study this particular profession or this major. I study this major. I'm good. Okay, you were good. You could have started working in STEM 10 years ago. It was great money. Now, massive job cuts. Now, massive furloughs. A hiring freeze. H-1B visas taking over American jobs, right? Now you feel hopeless. Oh my God, it's not working. I did everything right. Now you have to think big about your future. You had a limited way of thinking in the past, whereby you believe that you can only be successful if you follow the rules that were set in front of you. Mercury and Saturn, Taurus energy, the Hierophant. Let me clarify the page of air, please. Page of air for the collective. Six of Swords reversed. Five of Wands upright. So the swords represent thought, intelligence, information. How you process information, how you disseminate information, how you assimilate information, how you use information. Six of Swords. In reverse, someone's thinking is not balanced or refined. This is like this is like being intellectually lazy. You're being intellectually lazy. You're letting other people think for you. You're letting other people tell you how to think, or you're letting other people think for you. And because of that, you're in conflict with yourself. Five of Wands. You're not able to actualize or manifest what you want because you're allowing other people's programming to run your operating system. So your operating system consists of a bevy of programs that other people have written to keep you indoctrinated or to keep you under control. So these programs that compile or that have created this operating system, they were put there to limit your potential. They were put there to tell you how to think. Social media, the algorithm, binary, zeros and ones, hot and cold, black and white, very flat, linear thinking. There's no potential with zeros and ones. It just is what it is. Off and on. There's no gray area. Either you can quantify it, you can see it, you can hold it, or you cannot. It ain't real. That's not going to work in this age. Hold on a second. I'm sorry, I had to turn my alarm off. Yeah, you're being intellectually lazy and or dishonest, and you're being programmed by people on how to think, what to think, when to think, how to use your knowledge, how to apply it, how to process information. Like somebody's going to have to deconstruct their operating system, their programming. And this epiphany is helping you to see that you're cutting through the brainwashing. You're cutting through the matrix. Spirit, please continue this message for the collective. You're cutting through the confusion, the deception, the manipulation, spell work. Language as a spell, grammar as a spell, education as programming, and a spell is magic. The magic of language, of misinformation, using words as magic to limit people's potential. So it's like The language that you speak, whether it's French, English, Hindu, whatever, the language you were taught, it was constructed in a way that facilitated the limiting of one's potential. So they don't have to tell you how to think anymore. You were programmed. The language itself, the language of your culture, of your society, it was constructed in a way to turn you against yourself, to turn you into a slave or a drone. This is magic. So, okay, this is kind of deep. The people who created these languages, written language, spoken language, verbal, I don't want to say nonverbal, not nonverbal, verbal or written languages, these languages were structured to limit your intellectual, spiritual, your ability to function. They're limiting your capacity to think big. They limit your potential. These languages were constructed to limit your potential as a spiritual being. They were created to lock you down into categories. In the beginning, I mentioned that I could not do any readings based on time or a particular sign. Those are constructs. Time is not linear. It is cyclical. It is circular. It is continuous. It's infinite. Time is interdimensional also. Your zodiac sign. Each of the 12 signs are just a facet or an aspect of one grand identity of God, of Source. There's no separation here. The languages that we were taught around the whole world were designed to limit our potential to think beyond the scope of our humanity, our physical limitations as Saturnian human beings. The physical body is Saturn. It's the manifestation of Saturn. Being locked, trapped, bound to a physical vessel that ages, that gets sick, that's mortal, that feels pain. All of these systems or constructs were created by some people, an entity, a class of people, a race of people, ETs, whatever. They were put together on purpose to keep us locked in and locked down so that we don't believe in ourselves. We don't believe in our potential as spiritual beings. Our potential is limited to the matrix that we're in, i.e., the job, education system, religion, politics, entertainment. Those 5 matrices, that is all we're allowed to think and be and imagine or feel or whatever. We can only believe in that. We can only believe in the system. You're only allowed to believe in the system and the potential for the system to give you the life that you want. You're not allowed to believe in yourself or infinity, the possibility of infinity. The people who are really good at manifesting have a lot of Jupiter aspects in their chart. Jupiter, Neptune. Jupiter, Mercury aspects. Neptune, Mercury aspects. Uranus, Mercury aspects. Saturn and Mercury is a doozy. It locks your mind down. You become depressed and pessimistic and very restricted or limited in your communication or the way you think and even your confidence in yourself or the way you disseminate information. This was done on purpose. This is not just about your family, your immediate family, or your culture. This was an agenda created by some other beings who wanted to make sure that we did not evolve or elevate beyond our human state. And once we did evolve, we were destroyed or knocked down like a Tower of Babel. You're doing too much. You know too much. You're too smart. We have to create a language that limits the mind and the humans or the or humanity's potential to elevate and evolve outside of the confines of their physical being or existence, of their mortality. Your mind makes you immortal. Your mind makes you immortal. If you have a mortal mind, you're going to have a mortal body. I'm not saying that if you are smart, you'll live forever, but your ideas will live forever or beyond your lifespan. A lot of us are reading books from people who've died hundreds of years ago. So your mind makes you immortal. There are some people, institutions, entities, spirits, whatever, who don't want you to live beyond your short lifespan. If your mind is not immortal, then you won't live forever. You'll be stuck repeating the same mistakes over and over again, generation after generation. No evolution. Spirit guides, more information, please, for the collective. Concealed power. Give birth to the wonder of revelation. Your power was hidden from you or taken from you. To facilitate this control or this programming whereby you would limit your own potential. They don't have to tell you anything anymore. Just the way that the language is constructed, it was designed to keep you mortal, to keep you dumbed down, stupid, judgmental. There is no fluidity in your thinking. Some of you guys are really intelligent, like smart as hell, and so smart that you can solve problems. You can solve real problems that have been plaguing humanity for generations or millennia. But there are some people or institutions or entities that don't want you to do that. They want humanity to keep making the same mistakes, to keep them locked in this trap. So this is very out there, but on a personal level, again, your potential won't be actualized or manifested or experienced if you don't believe in yourself. That's a part of the larger picture here. So on a collective level, humanity was dumbed down by languages, verbal and written languages. On an individual level, your dumbing down or you being dumbed down, it doesn't mean you're stupid, but your potential is limited. You can do and be so much more than what you are if you actually believe in your unlimited potential. Thinking big, Jupiter energy, Jupiter and Gemini. Not just accumulating a bunch of information for the sake of entertainment and trivia, but actually synthesizing this to create whole new ideas and belief systems that will live beyond your lifespan. This is like being a philosopher, like a Toni Morrison, or like an Aesop fable, or like a Socrates, or Plato, or Shakespeare. Most of us are not allowed, or we don't feel comfortable being in those spaces where we're like, where our minds can make us immortal. These entities or people or systems, they want you to die with your body. They don't want you to leave anything behind that can help humanity. They want everybody to keep making the same mistakes so they don't grow, learn, and evolve. This is one of the reasons why, if you notice, really evil people live a long time. They have technology, they have tools, they have resources, lifestyle, whatever. They have the resources to live to 100 years old so they can keep doing their dumb shit. If you die before the age of 35 or 25, Unless you're a Tupac or like a Dr. King or MLK or somebody really powerful. If you notice, they're trying to get rid of people earlier. It's not just about the economy. They want people to die before they can. There are entities who want people to die before they can grow up and evolve and become more attuned to their spirituality, more knowledgeable or wiser. They want you to die earlier and earlier so you can't evolve with time. They want you to stay mature and not wise. It's like the faster you die, the less information you'll be able to accumulate, the less wisdom you'll have. Unless, again, you are an old soul who came right back and did what they needed to do before the age of 25, 30 years old. But the really evil people live forever. For a reason. I'm not going to say they're being protected. They're being allowed to live this long. They're working. Why am I going all over the place? This is crazy. This is a crazy ass story. There are people who are allowed to live a long time because they're working with entities who support their ideology and belief system. They're supporting the anti-human agenda, anti-consciousness, anti-evolution. They want to keep the world locked in pain and survival and struggle and insecurity and control. The people who are facilitating this, they're granted a long life as a reward for their loyalty to some entities or there's something going on here where human beings are being attacked. This is crazy. Human beings are being attacked. Our potential is being limited severely by other entities who don't like us, who don't want us to get old enough to evolve and like share our knowledge and wisdom with the world. They want us to die fast, die in our 30s and 40s and 50s or 20s or whatever. They don't want you to be 108 years old like Henry Kissinger or Jimmy Carter. No, you don't get to live that long. You live long enough to be a slave and then die. That's it. You're not going to be allowed to see your potential. They don't want you to see that. So the education system, the culture, society, the language itself was constructed this way. It was constructed to limit your thinking. It's like, man, this is black magic. This is black magic. That's why I couldn't do a regular reading. This is black magic here being done. Now I gotta get my esoteric cards out. This is black magic. Let me get this other deck. I'm gonna do the Gaia Oracle, and then I will use the other deck. This is black magic. Spirit guides, I need some more information for the collective for this message. There were some highly skilled, like the people who wrote the languages were also magicians. The people who created the language, these cabals, institutions, priesthood, mystery systems, schools, whatever, mystery schools, mystery places where all these ancient organizations come from, they were magicians too. They weren't just linguists no, they were occultists. They were assigned to do this. I need another message for the collective as it pertains to this story here. They were assigned to do this. And you are perpetuating the program. You're running the program for them. You're running the program for them because, ooh, this is a mind virus. The language itself is a mind virus. The knowledge system is a virus that was designed to limit your potential as a human being. I think this is one of the reasons why Americans were discouraged from learning different languages. Harmony, power, self-confidence, and productivity. Power again, self-confidence, productivity. I mentioned a lack of harmony, a lack of refinement. When something is in harmony, it's in balance. The external and the internal are in alignment. There's a harmony between your beliefs and your knowledge. There's an integration here. You see how she's merging with this tree in a sense? The limbs of his tree, like this Eight of Pentacles card. She's a tree, and this is also a tree here. Trees representing stability, ancestry, wisdom, strength, old spirits, power, self-confidence, and productivity. 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 Okay. If you have a job, more than likely you're not being productive. If you have a job in the system, you're not being productive. Your job is just there to distract you. Your job is taking your power and your self-confidence away. It's just there to control your energy. It's like slavery. But you were tricked into thinking that a job was a source of empowerment. But something within you is feeling like that's not true now anymore. It's not true anymore. Someone did everything right. Whoever this is for, they did everything that they were supposed to do. But something doesn't feel right anymore. There's an imbalance here. There's a dissonance. It's causing fatigue. It's causing stress. It's causing anxiety. It's causing a lot of negative emotions that don't make sense, because on the outside looking in, things are great. They're okay. But you're not feeling harmonious. You're feeling out of balance. Six of Swords, Five of Wands. Your power is being concealed. You feel like you could do more. You have more potential than this. You're playing yourself. Power, self-confidence. Let me get one more card, please, for the collective. And then I'm going to pull another card here. Yeah, that's crazy. Ganesha. Clearing away obstacles, protection, and guidance. This is guru energy. Jupiter. Jupiter represents growth, expansion, potential, abundance. Clearing away obstacles. The obstacle is the way you think. It's what you were taught. It's how you were indoctrinated. Protection and guidance. Wisdom. This is the ability to integrate and synthesize and amalgamate everything you've learned, all your experiences, and applying it to reach your highest human potential, which is not your job. I don't know what you do for a living, whoever this is for, but your job is not helping you to reach your potential. And I think you feel this way. This is not for everybody. This is for people who are relatively successful or stable in their career, but they feel like something's missing, like they have more to do. They're being played. Clearing away obstacles, protection, and guidance. Elephants are intelligent. They're wise, and they live a long time. They live for decades, maybe 50, 60, 70, 80 years. They're the smartest mammals on the planet. Or smartest animals. I don't want to say humans, because humans are stupid a lot of times. But they're really intelligent. You guys may have been watching elephant videos recently. You've seen an elephant on a TV show, or you may have to worship an elephant god. We'll see what the animal oracle cards say. Spirit animal cards. You guys may end up having to deal with some wise animal spirit to get insight. All these decks. Spirit animal oracle, Ganesha, clearing away obstacles, protection. This is number 31. That's number 4. 4s represent structure, restrictions. The North Node is going into Pisces, which is ruled by Jupiter. 4s are also the North Node in numerology. This is Pisces. This is ruled by Jupiter and Neptune. There is a conjunction with Neptune and Saturn. This is breaking away from structures and systems being broken down. So there's a fight here between Saturn and Neptune. I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. Saturn wants to bind or trap or imprison people or limit people in some way as a form of punishment or character building exercises. But Neptune wants to liberate humanity. It wants freedom. It wants to expand. So does Jupiter. Jupiter and Neptune are doing this. Jupiter is in debilitation in Gemini. So this is like people who have a lot of information but don't know what to do with it. And is now becoming noise and a distraction. They know so much, but they're still dumb because they don't have any wisdom. A lot of knowledge, a lot of education, but they're stupid. Or they can't solve the puzzles, or they can't solve any problems. All this knowledge, but they can't solve anything. All this so-called education, but they don't know anything for real about life, about the meaning of life, about the purpose of life. The purpose of life is not to have a job. I'm not saying don't work. I have a job. But that's not the purpose of life. That was a construct or a system that was created by some priesthood to control humanity's potential. That is being broken up now with Saturn and Neptune in conjunction with the North Node. The North Node has a Uranian energy. So you have Uranus, in a sense, conjunct Saturn. The old system, the old way of doing things, old beliefs, old ideas that were created during the age of Pisces for 2,200 years, all of those things are being blown up. Conspiracy theories, religion, fake belief systems, institutions that were created by the dark priesthood to keep us enslaved are now being dissolved or dismantled in some way. And it's causing a dissonance in people. So you have all this information coming out, but you can't synthesize it, put it together. You can't solve any problems, or you don't understand what's going on because you're intellectualizing everything. It's like, if I can't see it, it's not real. If they don't tell me what it is, then I don't believe it. But then it's like people who have a lot of information, but they don't know how to put the pieces together. So they know about the conspiracies, but they're not seeing the bigger picture here. It's just gossip for them. Spirit guys, I need a spirit animal for this message. Mouse spirit, number 4. Tend to the small things. Koi fish spirit, there's always enough. Elephant spirit, I know he was going to come out. Learn from the past. They don't want you to learn from the past. They want you to stay dumb and forget everything. They want to wipe your spiritual collective memory clean. So you can keep making the same mistakes and come back over here doing the same dumb shit that they can take advantage of. Chameleon spirit, act as if. This is belief. And horse spirit, freedom is yours. Mouse. A mouse is timid, is fearful. Tend to the small things. So this is you focusing so much on the micro that you forget the macro, or focusing so much on the macro that you forget the micro. It can be both ways because Jupiter is square Neptune and or Saturn. So this is Gemini, the small things, and Pisces, the big things. There's a square. So you're focusing so much on a little thing that you miss the big picture, or you're missing the forest for the trees, or you're missing the trees for the forest. There's an imbalance here between Gemini and Pisces, or Virgo and Sagittarius. Tending to small details to the point where you can't see the bigger picture, or you're so focused on the big picture, you don't understand how this is happening on the ground level. How did this happen? Yes, there's a conspiracy, but how did they do this? Deconstructing the con or the plan or the game or the lie to solve the problem. It's like you're so focused on, okay, we figured out the conspiracy with the government, right? CIA, FBI, whatever, RFK papers. Okay, now you know the big picture, but the small details are being ignored. So there has to be integration or balance between the trivial facts and the big picture. You need both. So the small facts can tell you how this happened or why it happened. And the big picture is what is happening. When did it happen? How is it affecting humanity going forward? Small things, how did they do this? Who was involved? So now you're so concerned about who's involved, who's releasing the papers, the small little details, as opposed to thinking about why this was done. Why was Kennedy, King, Malcolm, and why were the Kennedy brothers, RFK and JFK, why were they killed? King, what was the reason for this? It wasn't just because of one person or one organization. There was a bigger agenda at play here. Koi fish, there is always enough. And this is the energy of potential, thinking big. So we were trained or programmed to believe that the planet or our abilities are finite. They're limited. There's not enough for everybody. You must ration your potential. You must limit your potential. You must limit your abilities. They're too big for us. This language was created to do that, especially English. The language was constructed by some dark priesthood it's a Saturnian language. It's not like Sanskrit or Arabic calligraphy. If you look at the way that English is written, it's block letters. They're very square and angular. They're very square and angular, with the exception of the S or whatever. Even if you see the letter D and B, you see a circle that's blocked off by a straight line. So the language itself, the way that it was constructed, was designed to keep us limited, fearful, small, poor, weak, fearful, suppressed, oppressed, repressed in some way, and not believing in our own potential. Like, yeah, there's always enough. Then we have elephant spirit, learn from the past. I mentioned this earlier. This is wisdom, Jupiter energy, right? All this information we're collecting and gathering, and we'll end up doing the same thing tomorrow we were doing yesterday. So now that you know the government's involved in A, B, C, D, E, how are you going to act differently? How are you going to change your behavior? What are you going to do differently? Nothing. I'm stuck. Okay, well, then what was the point of you learning this? If you weren't going to do shit anyway, what was the point of you finding this out if you're not going to change? So this is the reason why they're wiping the history books, or they have wiped a lot of things out of the history books, because they don't want us to know what's going on. The people who are doing this are not regular human beings. These are highly educated, dark priesthood people who who were assigned to do this. I don't want to say who I think it is, but you guys may know what I'm talking about. They were assigned to do this. They were assigned, or they were chosen, or given the task and the responsibility of keeping humanity in perpetual servitude by way of ignorance and limiting our potential and slavery. Chameleon spirit, act as if. So you have to be the thing before you can embody it. Act as if this tree is already a cello, and then you can create a cello. Act as if you are already successful, and then you can become that. Act as if means that you have to imagine or visualize it before you can materialize it. Chameleon spirit. But you need to believe in yourself to do that. The language that you're using, or the way you're thinking about yourself, the way that you were taught, indoctrinated, educated, it doesn't allow you to do that. What do you want to be when you grow up? Nobody says, I want to be a metaphysical spiritual healer. They say, I want to be a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, an accountant, a fireman. All of those professions that have been created by the system that was designed to limit your potential in the first place. It's not a bad thing to want to be a doctor or a fighter or a lawyer. That's not a bad thing. But why? Why those options? Right? Most young women don't know what a midwife is or a doula is. When they're younger, they hear, oh, I want to be a pediatrician, whatever. So it's like your options are being limited by the language, by your school system, education. Everything is being locked down by some dark priesthood. And they know who they are. I'm not going to bring it up. Freedom is yours. Stallion energy. This is kind of like Sagittarius. Jupiter energy. Number 6. This is Venus. 6s represent balance. Some people also say 6s are Saturn. I'm not going to get into that in this particular discussion, but okay. Freedom is yours. This is more so Venus than Saturn for this conversation. Because there is supposedly a hexagram on Saturn's surface. But okay, whatever. So freedom is yours. The freedom to think big and reach your fullest potential if you believe it. There's a fear of believing in your potential here. This is like being wild. You don't want to be seen as wild, crazy, irresponsible. You have to follow the rules here. You can't just be like a Sagittarius. You got to be like a Capricorn. Sagittarians, they love knowledge. They love to learn. They love schools. They are the best teachers, in my opinion. Wonderful teachers. They love doing it. They're natural at it. Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising sign. Wonderful teachers. Or placements in the 9th house. Jupiter in the 3rd house. Great teachers. So, teachers usually have wisdom. And for them, learning is the job. Their job is to learn and to apply what they've learned. Their job isn't to learn something just to get a job. And then that's it. They don't learn anymore. No. Learning for them is a lifelong endeavor. Because your ideas may change. And if you have a lot of experiences, those experiences are teaching you new things. That's why they love to travel or explore or teach people or whatever. They don't want to settle down anywhere. Because if you're settled down in one space, then your intellect, your wisdom, your knowledge is limited to your surrounding environment, to your small village or small town, to your home. So you don't really know much because you haven't been anywhere or done anything. Not just physically, but mentally. You could be at home all day, but have 1,000 books in your house. That is the Chiron manifestation of Sagittarius, the hermit. So Sagittarius have two different archetypes. There's one that's wild and loose and like an animal, and there's one that is the studious, I don't say neophyte, because at some point they become like masters. They become adepts. because they've spent many, many years studying. They love to read. So there's two manifestations of this Sagittarius energy. I'm going to say this also. Every single zodiac sign has a lower vibration and a higher vibration. The dark priesthood has intentionally ensured that the majority of us stay in a lower manifestation or vibration of our signs. So Aries is actually quite intelligent, but the way that society has been shaped or cultivated or designed, Aries are now impulsive, selfish, self-destructive, irrational, violent, whatever, competitive, irrational, all this stuff, right? That's lower octave. Same thing with Taurus. Taurians are actually quite spiritual too. But low vibration of Taurus, greedy, narcissistic, selfish, insecure, self-serving, stuff like that, materialistic. All the signs have a higher octave. We were kept in this wild animal horse manifestation, this horse expression, not having any sort of control, no intellect, just wild animals. As you get older, you calm down. You become more wise, or you become more mature, more worldly, more responsible, more cognitive, and more cognizant of the world around you. You're not just traveling to Latin America anymore for big booty hoes. Now you want to go to Peru and and Mexico to see some of the ancient sites that have been destroyed by the conquistadors. You want to find out about history. You're evolving. If you die before you get old enough to have this experience, then you're going to keep making the same mistakes. Reincarnation after reincarnation. They don't want you to evolve. These people don't. They don't want you to believe in yourself either. You see, there's always haters involved. Just know that human beings, we have haters. And we have human beings who are part of tribes who have been assigned to keep us fucked up. They were chosen to do that. To limit our potential and to keep us enslaved to their particular God. That's interesting. Who's going to win between Saturn and Neptune? Who is going to win between Saturn and Neptune? I think Neptune's going to win only because the North Node is also involved. The North Node does not like Saturn. It is extremely liberating and unstable. It's the energy of Lilith, not Saturn. So the North Node is very Uranian. It's about freedom at all costs. There's no rules with the North Node. Saturn's all about rules, and Neptune is not about rules. So Neptune might win. Forge, don't follow. Pave a new path. Be the leader you wish you had. It didn't say be a follower. It said be a leader. Create your own school, your own language, your own understanding, your own belief system. We were taught to be followers, to limit our potential. We were taught to be followers to conceal our power and to not align with our life purpose. We're going to understand this now, I guess, a little better than before. Double mission, light worker, star seed, serve the world by being you. It didn't say be an employee. You can do that to pay the bills. I'm not telling you to quit your job. I'm saying that there's more to you than that. This duality here, Gemini energy. You can be both spiritual and practical. Pay the damn bills, but you have to also feed the other side of yourself, of your life, and leave something behind for humanity besides what, your resume? Your job it's just a job. It doesn't mean anything. Pay your bills. That's it. I'm not telling you to quit your job. Don't do that. If you don't have another source of income, that's insane. Be practical, but also be spiritual at the same time. You need both. Serve the world by being you, not somebody else. Not this Windows operating system. not a cog in the wheel. Breath of the cosmos. My will to thy will. Micromanaging the universe. Mouse energies. Who the F gave these people permission to micromanage the spirit of God? You know how they micromanage you? The first step is language. They tell you how to think. They tell you what to think. They tell you what thought is and what thinking is and what intellect is and what is real and what's not real. They've created a matrix of control to limit your growth, your potential, your evolution, and your spiritual experiences on this planet. My will be done, right? My will to thy will. Micromanaging the universe. This is the micro to the macro. Micromanaging the universe. This is like this. The universe is the macro. And you're micromanaging your energy by being intentional, by being focused, by really understanding how this shit works on a macro level and a micro level. The macro level representing the institutions that were created to keep you under control. The micro level representing the fundamental structures that were created to plug you into the matrix from the education system, the ground up, first, second, third, fourth houses. How your culture has been co-opted by these people. How your education has been co-opted by these people to micromanage your macro experience as a spiritual being. Boom. Whale and orca elders, share your song, frequency of sound. This cello here. Diving deep. Frequency of sound. Sound cannot be seen. Some people can say you can see it with these little virtual, whatever, displays, whatever you would call them. I don't want to call it what you would call it, but they have these devices where you can now see sound, whatever. Fine. But typically you can't see music. You can feel it. You can hear it. You can dream about it, but you can create it, but you can't see the frequencies here. They're a part of the micro and the macro. Music is a macro and the micro integrated together. I would tell you why I believe this, but I want you to figure out on your own. How is music micro and macro? How is the frequency of sound micro and macro as far as like the human experience? Share your song, frequency of sound, diving deep. This was a deep dive, wasn't it, guys? Because, I was trying to get these readings out and I kept being blocked. My throat started to hurt. I recorded 4 different readings and I just didn't want to put it out. I felt disconnected. I'm like, okay, there's something that needs to be said that I'm not saying, but it's something that somebody needs to hear that I need to communicate to them. I wasn't going to do this type of reading, but it had to come out. So yeah, all in all, we do have hater entities around us who want to limit our potential as spiritual beings, and our education system and our culture have been co-opted by these entities and these beings and these organizations and these cabals and these secret priesthoods. They've been co-opted in order to limit our human potential. That is being shifted radically, courtesy of the Pluto and Aquarius transit and the North Node conjuncting Saturn and Neptune. There's going to be a massive radical shift of consciousness because of these placements. Saturn can't win against Neptune and the North Node. The North Node is extremely powerful as by itself. And so is Neptune, but Neptune's kind of passive. And Neptune is kind of weak right now. It's in its final degrees of Pisces, even though it's his home sign. It's his co-ruler. Pisces is co-ruled by Neptune and Jupiter. And the co-ruler of Pisces is in debilitation in Jupiter. So, there was some conflicts. There's a lot of confusion, right? But there's a lot of apathy or disillusionment or despair being disseminated by the media. That's fine. But with Uranus and, not Uranus, with the North Node being in Pisces and Neptune being there also, Saturn's going to be overwhelmed because it's still making a square to Jupiter. So Jupiter square Saturn can sometimes indicate someone who is too optimistic and not practical enough or not realistic enough, or someone is too pessimistic and they don't have enough faith in themselves. There's a tug of war between like reckless abandonment and extreme cynicism and pessimism. There has to be a balance here between hope and reality. Reality representing the micro and hope representing the macro. I got to pay my bills. I got to take care of my kids. I got responsibilities. However, I have so much potential beyond what I'm doing that I'm willing to take the risk and make a sacrifice to do this. Okay? Don't quit your job unless you have another source of income. I'm not saying do that, but please understand that you are more than your job. You're more than your career. You're more than your car, your house. You're more than your degrees. That won't mean nothing in the coming age because the system's about to collapse. Okay? All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. If you want to order a personal reading, the link is in the description box. I look forward to reading your feedback. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.